Hi, this is 72 Daystar, and today we're cooking for bachelors. One of the staples that kept me going actually during university, when I first came to Korea, was spaghetti. So I'm going to show you a quick and dirty, simple spaghetti that actually does taste great. Now, you can find a ready-made pasta sauce that's great, but often this stuff is really boring. So in order to make it a little more interesting, we're going to saute some pepper, a little bit of sweet pepper here, and a large size mushroom and some onions, and saute that so to get it ready. When I first tried to do this, I actually just added the vegetables, chopped vegetables right into the sauce, and it didn't work out because it didn't cook well enough, and it was still kind of a little bit too crunchy by the time I went to eat it. So we're going to saute them first in oil. I'm going to show you how to do that, and then we're going to add them to the sauce, and then add that with the pasta, and it's going to be a good meal. It's going to be really simple. Okay, let's do this. Okay, you're going to want to wash the dirt off the mushrooms, and cut that into something smaller and bite size, and in the pan, and my sweet pepper. Okay, get some seeds in there. That's not something we're going to want. Knock that off there. Get a couple of pieces of that. There we go. Try not to get the seeds in. Okay. If you don't mind it chunky, that may do. Of course, if you mind it chunky, then you chop for a little longer than I do. But me, I don't care. Okay. Now to the sauce, we're going to add some garlic. Just the little bits on the end that can be a little bit the wrong texture. I don't know, it probably wouldn't even matter. No one would probably even notice. But, oh well, just for aesthetics. So crush it. Now, if you wanted to, I'll give a good chunk of onion as well. You could chop and chop and chop until they're nice and fine. Or just do a few chops like this and load it into my blender chopper mixer thingy, and that will make quick work of it. That's a lot easier. You're going to want to start your water for the pasta, cover it so that it boils more quickly. Next step, you're going to want to, wrong one, this one. Add some olive oil. And saute the veggies until they turn color a little bit. I wonder if I want some chunky onion in there too. Yeah, maybe I'll get some chunky onion. So add some onion. Also some pepper in there. Just black pepper. I always like it to have it freshly ground though. Some basil. Some oregano, and then just cook that till it sort of changes color a little bit. I don't know, like Once it gets sizzling a bit, about 2 minutes more, and that's usually fine. It's almost there. Make sure you turn it a few times. It's starting to get a little bit brown on the edges. The mushrooms kind of start out a little bit bonish white, but now they're starting to get a little bit of golden brown on the edges, so it's probably good. I'm going to leave that for now and go on to the next stage, preparing the sauce. So now you recall a bit ago I used my mixer. The other option would be to chop until this is really fine, which takes a long time, and it's much easier to get a cheap $20 mixer, and then you can quickly puree it and get back to the fun stuff. So heat my pan. Again, a little dribble of extra virgin olive oil. Or you could substitute, that's what I always had to do, substitute with soybean oil. When I first came to Korea, I'd always be using soybean oil for everything before I located some extra virgin olive oil. So, anyways, once that gets hot, roll the heat back a little bit and empty in my pureed onion and garlic. And if you burn this a bit, doesn't matter. It's just all the better. I kind of like to give it a little scorch. Who cares? Cooking with bachelors here. Cooking for bachelors. So again, the rule of thumb is you keep cooking this until it changes color. Usually takes about 2 minutes. I can add in some more oregano and some more basil and some more pepper. And I'll just cook that for a couple of minutes. Well, as the pureed onion and garlic is now burning my eyes, so that's a good sign. It means it's almost ready. But meanwhile, my water is boiling. I'm going to put some oil in there. Sometimes I like to use just soybean oil to do this because it's mostly to keep the noodles separate. But since I have the oil on hand, I'm going to put enough oil in there. You don't have to cover the entire surface of it. Just, I don't know, about a tablespoon-ish. And then I'm going to add my noodles. Okay, so the pureed onion and garlic is ready. So this is how much do you need? You have to keep in mind that this will expand quite a bit when it soaks up the water. So that's enough for, see how thick that is when I squeeze it together? That's one big serving. And I mean, well, serving for me, I mean, I'm going to be stuffed after this. That's more than enough for me. That's maybe 2 normal people, or 1 me. 1 hungry bachelor. Oh, another thing I have to do with the water here is salt it. So, let me see, salt over here. Sort of when you make a palm, and cover the palm, and within, I don't know, there's like between 3 or 4 liters of water in the pot there, so that should be enough to keep it salted. Now, I gotta make sure that these don't stick together, so I'm using chopsticks, but you could use anything. That's what I'm comfortable with. I find this much more useful. Use chopsticks. So make sure they don't stick together, and then you resume a good rolling boil for them. And now, back to the sauce. I have my generic Tesco brand Polonaise pasta sauce. So for 1 person, I don't know, maybe not. How much was that? I don't know, about half a cup or something like that. Now bring up the heat again on my pureed garlic and onion and mix that all together. Okay, it's been a couple of minutes for the sauce all together, so that's pretty much ready. So I just set that aside and wait for my pasta to finish. But while I'm waiting for that, I'm going to prepare something, some Parmesan cheese and a cheese grater. Get about a shot glass full of this ready to go, so when I'm ready to eat, I'll have it ready to dump right over my pasta and sauce, so it's mixed in really well. So there we have quite a bit, actually, more than a shot glass, a couple of shot glass full of freshly grated Parmesan cheese. I guess you could leave, if you want to keep this completely vegan, you're gonna have to leave this out. So sorry, no MSG for you guys, you poor vegans. I've got a couple of pieces of multi-grain bread. I never used to be able to get this in the old days in Korea, but now it's fairly accessible. There's a few locations you can get it. I get this at tous les jours, but not all tous les jours carry this style of multi-grain bread. But I'm going to use this to make some garlic toast to go along with my spaghetti. Okay, now it's getting close. So take a noodle. I find this much easier to do with chopsticks, but you've got to have the right kind of wiggle, and if there's still any doubt, try one noodle. Okay, they're still quite firm. That's good for your health, that's good for your nutrients, to keep them a little bit firm, but it's going to be soft in about 2 minutes. So now, start my toast, because I want to have the toast warm and the noodles at the same time. Okay, so the toast, just lightly toast it. I just need to keep it warm, and I'm going to put some butter on this and then add some garlic powder, not to be confused with garlic salt. You don't want to put salt on your bread. You want to have ground up dried garlic, so that's going to be really good to go with the spaghetti. Meanwhile, over here, our spaghetti's ready to roll, so get some oven mitts or gloves. I guess these are mitts. Don't make oven gloves, do that. And I'm ready to rock and roll. I have a thing to separate the water. Some people, I don't know, if you're worried about too much oil on the noodles, some people put some, let me see. If you're worried about too much oil on the noodles, some people run hot water over the noodles. I don't really care. I don't see much difference. I just make sure I drain them well. I'm going to put those there for the moment while I get my toast ready. That's going to have to be my garlic toast. One dish in place. Now, a drink. Wine. For that, I'll need a opener. Don't you love the shape of this? It's almost like eccentric, it's asymmetrical, it's like something a wine Dr. Seuss would enjoy. That wine cork was stuck in there well. Anyways, beverage is ready. Okay, well that's a lot of pasta. It's still too hot. So I'm gonna mix in my sauce. You're just cooking for yourself, you don't have to worry about more than one serving. And my fried vegetables. And mix those together. And add our cheese. Now let's find a dish. Okay, so there we have it. It's a quick, easy, relatively easy, good meal that any bachelor can fix for himself. And even make it a little simpler than this. It doesn't have to be this complicated. Anyways, that's I may never do a video like this again, but anyways, that's me, 72 Daystar, out. Good stuff.